Welcome to Power Monday, where your Mondays will never be blue again. Hello everybody, good morning and welcome back to another episode of Power Monday, where your Mondays will never be blue again. As usual, my name is Taufik, and if this is your first time tuning in, Power Monday is ERA's original podcast where we bring in the best of the best in the industry to share their real life journeys, the strategies that kept them through, and the best practices for success. So if you guys are looking for your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration, we'll be here for you every Monday 10 a.m. and you can also catch us on 1ERA SG Spotify as well as 1ERA YouTube. Now for today, we have a distinguished leader in real estate with a stellar track record since 2014. Our speaker today combines honesty, integrity, and strategic planning to deliver tailored solutions for clients in his approach towards transacting properties here in our little red dot. Now, beyond achieving awards, he empowers associates with a replicable business system and continually hones his skills by reading about investment and business strategies, ensuring excellence in every transaction. So please join me in welcoming in the Power Monday studio, Brendan.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, so Brendan, a little bit more about yourself, because we never really talked outside of work,
Yes.
right? So was real estate something you've always wanted to do?
It was an interest of mine ever since I started working. So I started working at the age of 23.
That is right after school.
Right after army.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, NS. After I did NS, I did my diploma and then we did NS. So it's the normal path.
Yeah.
And after that, I was looking for something to do. So I got a job. And after a while, at that point of time, there's like a lot of show flats around in Singapore.
Yeah.
So being curious, I like to look at all the nice designs, and that actually sort of got me interested in real estate. But I did not do anything related to real estate work-wise until much later. Yes.
So before you actually dived into real estate, you were doing a corporate job?
Yes, I was actually working in the airline industry.
Oh,
Yes.
cabin crew.
Cabin crew, yes.
Wow, nice. That's one of my dreams, to become a cabin crew, but obvious reasons. Okay,
Maybe one day.
hopefully. Okay, so besides the show flats, you were saying seeing the show flats kind of like, I don't know if triggered is the right word, but kind of like inspired you to delve into the world of real estate. Was there any influence from your friends or other person who invited you to join the industry, or it was just a you thing?
I would say it's a mix of a lot of things. So over time, as I looked at show flats, and you would have come across different sort of agents who will be serving you. And it got me thinking how interesting this job is, and how we can, because my background is in service, so how we can actually elevate that part into the real estate business. And it's coincidentally, as I was flying, I met a friend who is doing real estate as well.
Oh, okay.
So that is actually when he started to talk to me about property. He is an agent with ERA. So he started to talk to me about property, and it got me really interested. And it got me thinking, maybe I could do it as well. Maybe it could be a second career. Maybe it could be a backup plan. I didn't know then, but I felt he inspired me quite a bit.
So obviously when you go into real estate as an agent, you have to fulfill generic costs and professional costs, right?
Yes.
So for you, having experienced it already and having been this long in the industry, why do you think some agents perceive some courses as troublesome, and how can they shift this mindset? Maybe you can talk about, was there ever a moment when you started, did you ever thought that clearing all these obligations like very legit?
Well, there is, yes, for sure, because as agents, our main priority is to earn money.
Correct.
To make money. So whatever activity that doesn't generate any tangible form of return, naturally you will see it as a chore. But I think based on what I did before, every year we had to rehearse safety drills. So I sort of saw it as something similar because the business is really dynamic.
Correct.
You see a lot of changes in the in the laws
Yeah, in the
and
market,
the news and the market. So having this, I thought it would be good that every year we refresh ourselves, because it's not all the time we come across the same deals all the time. There are times where we may come across, for example, if you are a residential based agent and you don't have a lot of commercial property experience.
Yeah.
So I see attending all these CPD courses as a refresher. So you never know when you can have an opportunity to transact a commercial deal.
Correct.
And it's not so rusty, because what you have learned to get licensed is something you can keep for many, many years. But if you don't have anything that keeps your mind refreshed, eventually you will definitely forget what you have learned.
Yeah. So it's also like kind of a refresher for you. Even though if you already attended, it will be a great refresher, because there might be something new also that you never knew,
Yes.
right? From not attending, right?
Yes.
It's always good to attend. So, but also having said that, having to fulfill these obligations and then being your own entrepreneur, so you have your own timeline, your own schedule, then obviously the topic of being busy or being booked with other things to attend classes comes into play. So for yourself, what strategies did you use, and what strategies can other agents use to balance their work commitments with the requirement of completing these obligations?
Well, if you look at the number of hours that we need to complete now, it's
Yeah.
actually not a lot. Of course, it's going to
Oh,
increase.
is it? It's not a lot. Last time different, is it?
I mean, if you look at different insurance industries, a lot,
Okay.
right? It's a lot more for lawyers. Even
Okay.
they have to always have professional competencies updated.
Understand.
So and if you look in the grand scheme of the amount of time that we have, I would divide it and say actually it doesn't take up a lot of time. Each course will take about 3 hours. And if you divide it, let's say if you cram it all in one time, of course, yes, it will be very, very tiring.
Yeah.
But if you spread it out, it works for different people. Some people like to spread out their courses. Some people prefer to cram it. But I feel if you actually schedule it ahead of time, like I would like to set aside certain time in the month, and I think it's very important as self-employed individuals, whether or not it's required, to actually put aside some time for self-development. I think that is really key, because when you meet a client, they don't really care if your license is 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or you even got your license last year, how fresh it was.
Yeah.
What they want to know is how relevant you are today. So for me, with that mindset, I actually dedicate a certain amount of time every month or even every week. It doesn't have to be attending courses. It has to be, can also be reading up on news. I treat it as self-development.
Yeah. So when it comes to attending courses, attending trainings or whatever, how do you justify the time sacrifice that you have to make? So for example, like you have this training, you already scheduled it for next Monday, and then next Monday you have an appointment. So what are your weighing thoughts on which one do you decide to go?
Well, it depends on the nature of the appointment. If it's an appointment that we can actually reschedule, of course, I would prioritize the training, because if you keep rescheduling your training instead of the appointment, then somehow the training will always be pushed back and it will never happen.
Yeah.
So what I would weigh, if it's a really urgent appointment, then of course we would put aside the training and attend. But most of the time, we are able to reschedule the appointment. The gap is only maybe 3 hours. If let's say you have a course scheduled on Monday, 2 to 5.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can perhaps change your appointment from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I don't think it's going to be a very big issue in our business.
Yeah, but to each his own. I mean,
Yes.
we cannot say for everyone.
Yes, we can't say that for everyone, for
it's
sure.
about what you want to prioritize.
Yes.
And I think for this one, when we talk about lifelong learning, right, it's very important because it contributes to not only just an agent success, but anyone who's in the working industry in any field. Also, lifelong learning is very important. But from your perspective, how does lifelong learning contribute to an agent's success?
Well, if you are looking at to see how much you can grow as an agent, as an agent, of course, we want to do better and better every year.
Yeah.
So in order to do better and better, we need to have more knowledge, be able to add more value.
Yeah.
So in order to get to that, I believe you need to really improve. And that is where lifelong learning comes into play. If we don't learn, you can never grow.
Yeah.
If you don't train, you can never get stronger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, I attend trainings and I learn. It's not just to look good on a resume, but I feel it is important to get better, to get more knowledgeable. And I think more importantly is to be adaptable to different scenarios and different situations, because you will never know what might come your way in the future. So I train for that.
Yeah. So it's also like an investment also lah for yourself.
It's a
Right?
self-investment.
You invest a bit of like time for the free courses, and for the paid courses, a bit of time and money lah. But it's ultimately it will be beneficial lah, one way or another, right? Have you ever met or went to a training session that really never benefit you? I believe again, some people might attend one session, feels like is the best session, and then some people might say, oh, it does nothing for me. But I always tell these people that there must be one thing, there must be one small takeaway also. If you can take away, then that's a positive impact already. But what would you say about that?
For sure. Actually, my target for every course, for every training session is just to take away one thing. A lot of people say, oh, I need to learn a lot of things. Actually, as long as you spend 3 hours, all you need to learn is one thing. And I'm sure it's definitely possible for every training session. Unless you've been attending the same session even if you've been repeatedly attending the same session, sometimes from the trainer, the delivery might be different.
Correct.
There might be new things that the trainer might share. So I believe for every session that all you need to look for is just one thing to learn. And that one thing you add over time becomes many things.
Yeah. And it doesn't, I think we don't have to like put that takeaway in one box. Like if you learn about, for example, you go for a session for a certain topic, then you expect to learn only that takeaway. I think that's a very rigid mindset.
Very rigid, yes.
Because whatever takeaway you can get from any sessions at all, if it doesn't really necessarily relates back to the training topic, there must be some other things that you can relate back to, maybe your personal life or whatever lah. Don't you agree?
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. So then we talk about your personal experience. Can you share a bit about how continuous learning directly impacted your life or your career?
Okay, I would like to share something about a course that I attended last year. So I've always been interested recently in all the financial aspects of real estate, like for example, mortgage planning and all that. Because these days I realize that clients are looking more into this, and they want to find out more how to restructure their portfolio, and so this comes into play. So I attended a course. It was a paid course. It lasted 2 full days. So as a real estate agent, all along we are always on the move. To sit down in a location for 2 days can be very, very difficult and tough. In the afternoon, you hear your course mates breathing heavily. They get a bit tired. But after I attended the course, I know we have a lot of tools when it comes to mortgage. We have bankers, we have our Sales Plus app, but it gave me an understanding about how the calculations are derived. And right after the course, coincidentally, a client actually approached me, and they were discussing about how to restructure their property portfolio. And it always happens this way, right? When you attend the course, sometimes the course comes into application very, very fast. Right after. And to me, I felt, wow, it really helped in how I explained. And it actually helped me into getting the listing and the deal from the client. So that was really one of the things that really encouraged me to just continue to look for different causes that can actually elevate my business.
Yeah.
Maybe this year I'll be looking at something else, but I tend to look for courses that is a bit more in depth.
Yeah.
In that aspect.
Because you never know when you might need the information, right?
Yes, you never know. That's the thing.
Yeah. So, have you ever had experience struggling to like finding time for improving yourself for self-learning?
Yes, of course, we have all sorts of things. We have life, right? We have to look after our family.
Yeah.
Everyone has family. Everyone has commitments. Everyone has problems. Everyone has someone who is probably a family member who is sick. Everyone has an engagement to attend to.
Their own baggage.
Own baggage. Everyone has business. Everyone has work to do.
Yeah.
So we cannot use that as an excuse to
All the
put
time.
not all the time.
Cannot use all the time. Yeah.
All the time. You can put aside. So I would say put aside time. So for me, there is always time. It's not no time. It's how you make time.
Correct.
So if you have time to have Netflix, to watch Netflix, I would say you have time to go for a course. That's the same thing.
So, because you yourself are a trainer for one of our expert series as well, right? So, as a trainer, how do you make courses more engaging and relevant for agents? And then maybe this one is for our area teammates who are also doing their own training with their own team or their own division or their own group or whatever. So, as a trainer yourself, what are the steps that you would take to ensure that your courses are more engaging?
Okay, as I put myself in the shoe of a trainee.
Yeah.
So as a trainee, what do I like? So I personally enjoy real life case scenarios.
Okay.
It's like, case studies and stories.
Yep.
So when I attend the course and a trainer shares something that happens on the ground, I feel it's something that is very useful. So every time I try to always come up with stories, real stories, case studies, because if it happens to me, it can happen to anyone else. So I feel that is really something that anyone can benefit from if the trainers were to share as many as possible real life case scenarios, their experiences, because good and bad, because all these are quite invaluable in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry, off topic a bit. Going back to your personal life. In
Yes.
poly, what diploma you take again? Sorry.
I did a mass comm.
Nice. So okay, poly you did mass comm and then you went to NS.
Yes.
And then you straight away joined the cabin
Airline,
crew.
yes, cabin crew, yes.
Was cabin crew then your dream job?
This was something that I was really interested in when I was in my youth, secondary school.
So you did that for 7 years.
10 years.
Oh, wow. So how does the cabin crew life and the real estate life differs? Was there a cultural shock when you...
What is similar, I would feel, is the flexibility of time. Our weekdays are usually free. So for real estate weekdays, we have more time on the weekdays. What is similar is also sometimes our weekends and what is traditionally family time is also burned, because when you're flying, you spend your holidays, public holidays overseas. When as a real estate agent, you spend public holidays during doing viewings.
Yeah.
So that is similar. I would say the main difference is the workload. So the workload for when you're working for someone is very different. As a self-employed person, real estate agent, the workload is all the time. Yeah. There is no time where you cannot be offline.
Correct.
Off the flight, once you leave the aircraft, you're offline. So that's the main difference.
So looking back, do you ever see yourself becoming a trainer at all? Like, was it ever in your books that you will be training other ERA teammates?
Never. Never. I've always enjoyed doing my own thing, to be frank.
Okay.
Yes, I've always enjoyed doing my own thing. But I like to share. So I see it as an opportunity to share what I've experienced. But I've always enjoyed doing my own thing. So I've never really saw myself doing any form of training.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
Okay. Then when we talk about training, I think it's also very important that we have a great support system and
Yes.
work environment. It doesn't necessarily only be your friends, but it also includes your family, your colleagues, your upline, and your mentors. So, from your perspective, what role does a supportive work environment play in helping agents achieve work-life balance? We're not talking about sales success, but we're talking about work-life balance.
Okay. So when we talk about work-life balance, I think you are talking about working and playing,
Yeah,
right? So you need to have time to work. You also need to have time to de-stress.
for yourself, lah.
For
Do
yourself.
what you love to do.
Do what you love to do. And I feel work-life balance is really important. You need to have some form of outlet. If not, if you're always thinking about work, at one point of time, it's very difficult to get fresh perspective.
Yeah.
So a supportive environment is very important because a supportive environment will actually allow you to enjoy your hobbies or your family time 100% without worrying about the nitty-gritty. So for example, if let's say in ERA, we talk about CPD,
Yeah.
right? They will organize conferences.
Yeah.
So where you can do it efficiently in one day. So I feel, you don't have to worry, you don't have to look out for different causes to attend on different days. You just have to, have this course day you set aside. All you need to do is just set aside the time and you can fulfill that requirement. So, and the rest of the time you can just focus on your life, your hobbies.
Yeah. What's your
passions.
hobbies?
I enjoy being active.
Oh.
So I like to cycle. I like to run. So I like to do things that require movement.
So do you keep that like as a regular thing that you have to do like every week or something?
It's very important to me. So
Yeah.
it's something that I try to do every day.
Oh,
Yeah, every day.
wow. So that means you have very good time management and you're able to do it every day. You try to do it every day, lah.
As a real estate agent, your mornings are usually free. So I always set aside morning time before 10, before 9. This is the time where most likely no one is going to contact you.
Yeah.
So this is actually, to me, it's my time. It's the time that belongs to me. So I would use this time to just work on myself, being active, just to be stronger, a little bit stronger, just a little bit stronger every day, and try to be the best version of myself.
Yeah, because getting up sometimes when you're like overwhelmed with your own career and your work, and then
Yes.
getting up to do the things you love can sometimes also be very challenging also, right? Like sometimes you want to wake up. For example, you wake up this morning, then you want to cycle, then you feel very tired.
All the time.
Do you force yourself so that you at least can clock in that me time because it's essential?
I would say that is where discipline comes in. So a lot of people say that, motivation is very important.
Yeah.
But, discipline, it's a very common term used now, I see.
Yeah.
Discipline beats motivation. So you just have to set yourself a time. You schedule a time. I have friends who I meet to cycle. So it does keep you accountable.
Yeah.
If not, if you decide on that day, I'm just going to press the snooze button and continue to sleep, your friend will be left in the middle of the road in the morning waiting for you. So that's not so good.
And also it might become a norm to you also.
It becomes a norm.
You keep pressing the snooze button, then you end up not doing anything in the future. Yeah. Okay. So before we end off this episode, do you have any last final words that you have for our ERA teammates?
Well, I would say something that, as I said earlier, in all things, discipline will be better than motivation. So if you're looking for motivation, yes, it does help, but always set a discipline, set a schedule in whatever you want to achieve, in whatever you want to do, and just look to improve just a little bit every day. And as you approach over time, you look back, you will see how far you've grown.
Yeah, okay, there you guys have it. So again, if you use time to your advantage, there's always a time for you to achieve your goals, and also not only goals in work, but goals in your own fashion as well. And if you are able to manage your time well, then everything will just go smoothly. So guys, thank you, Brendan, for sharing your journey and insights on today's episode. And you guys, if you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure to continue to follow us on Spotify and like, share, and comment on our YouTube. We love to read them. Until next time, keep pushing forward, stay empowered as we continue to rise by raising others. And remember, your Mondays will never have to be blue again. It's been Brendan and Taufik today. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Power Monday, where your Mondays will never be blue again.